Hey guys, it's Janixa and welcome back to my channel. Today we are doing another paint and sip, and this time I am going to talk to you guys about my mental health journey. So the last time that I did a paint and sip, which was about a month ago, I also did a Q&A and I just answered a bunch of questions, and some of the questions did lead into, mental health territory. And I said that if you guys were interested in hearing my story, then I would make a video about it, and today is that day. I am going to be painting my nails with Mooncat's Stumped because this is fall in a bottle. It is absolutely gorgeous and I haven't gotten the chance to wear it yet, so I'm excited about that. And yeah, like I said, I'm going to talk about my mental health, and we'll see what I feel comfortable sharing, because part of me kind of wants to be completely open and share everything with you guys, but then part of me just knows how judgmental the world is and how much people really don't understand about mental health and how much they just make assumptions about certain diagnoses. So I'm not quite positive if I'm going to share absolutely everything, but I will share as much as I feel, open enough to share, and hopefully that helps somebody, or I don't know, make somebody feel better about what they're going through, because in the end, that's what I want out of this mental health series. I want you to feel less alone in your mental health struggles, and I just want you to feel like you have a community behind you, you know? So with all that being said, let's just go ahead and get right into painting. Okay, so I already have my base coat on, and I am using Lacquer's Nourishing Elixir. It's just one of my favorite base coats ever. And now I'm going to start painting with Mooncat Stumped. Okay, so my mental health journey actually goes back a long time. I have always been an anxious person. As a child, I was very, very anxious, but I didn't know what anxiety was as a kid. So I didn't know what I was experiencing. I just knew that I was like a worrier. And one thing that I was always super worried about was something happening to my parents or my brother and sister, really just anyone in my family. I am the oldest of three, so yeah, I just always worried about them, and I think I always felt like it was my responsibility to keep everyone safe, which is kind of ridiculous because I was a little kid. How was I gonna do that, But I guess that's just always how I felt. So yeah, little backstory there. I've always dealt with anxiety and a little bit of depression as a child and then into my teenage years. Even though that's what I dealt with, it was manageable, I think. It definitely was more manageable than what it became later on in life for me. After I had my kids, things really changed. And I figured that I would probably have postpartum depression or something like that because of my history with anxiety. I just kind of figured this is gonna happen to me, and it did. But I was breastfeeding my kids at the time, and I really didn't want any medication, even though now I know that it wouldn't have hurt them. But still, I just didn't want to take the chance. I just didn't want any medication. I thought that I could kind of get over it on my own, and honestly, that is one of my biggest regrets. I definitely could not get over it on my own, and all I did really was make it worse. I remember Steve from Blue's Clues. He did a interview, and he said that you collect depression. You know, the longer it goes untreated, the more you collect it. And that really resonated with me because that's exactly how I felt. Like, you think in your head that if you just let it go and give it time, it'll get better. But no, with time, you're just collecting more and more depression. And ultimately, that's what happened with me. And before I knew it, the kids were a few years old, and I was struggling tremendously with my mental health. Like, it was really bad, you guys. It's been really bad. And I did this not in silence because my husband knew about it, but really nobody else knew. I hate painting my right hand on camera because I just feel like it's so easy to make mistakes with this hand compared to my other hand. Ugh. So I finally decided at one point that it was time to get help because I noticed that things were just getting worse and I just couldn't deal with it anymore. So I did go and start seeing a psychiatrist, and you know, of course, they gave me some medication and I was taking them, and I just felt like nothing was working. You know, so of course, next time I saw the psychiatrist, I told her, and they said, you know, it takes some time for medication to work, so let's give it some more time. That's fine. I know it does take time for psychiatric meds to fully kick in. It can take up to like 6 to 8 weeks. So I gave it more time, and still nothing was working. And I just always, it's so weird because I've always had this feeling that medication wouldn't work for me. It's like in the back of my head, I always thought this isn't gonna work. And it didn't. And I told the doctor. And enough time had passed where it should have kicked in already. So we tried something else. The same thing. Then we tried something else. The same thing. Then we tried something else. Same thing. And then my psychiatrist kind of got frustrated and said, well, you know, there's really nothing else I can try. We've tried everything. Which that wasn't true because we only tried a couple of different medications and there's tons of different psychiatric meds. And honestly, that made me feel horrible. I felt like I was beyond help. I probably got even more depressed because of that. My anxiety went up higher because of that. So I stopped seeing her. I said, you know what? I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do this with a psychiatrist who doesn't really seem like they want to help. So I went to a different psychiatrist, and, you know, they did try different medication and they seemed like they wanted to help. And, you know, we tried a bunch of different things, and as per usual with me, nothing really seemed to help. You kind of get desperate in these situations. You think that this is your fault, and you know, you really do start to believe that you are beyond help. And yeah, that's definitely how I was feeling. It was bad. I ended up switching my psychiatrist again because I felt like she wasn't really, I don't know, she just wasn't um it didn't seem like she knew what else to do with me. So I just feel like if a doctor doesn't know what to do with you, what's the point of seeing them? So I already felt like this was the second time this had happened to me. So I switched to another psychiatrist. And when I saw her, she probably was kind of taken aback by me because my first appointment with her, I said, you know what? I have seen a couple psychiatrists already, and oh, I just smudged my nail. Ugh. See, this is why I don't talk and paint my nails at the same time. Anyway, I told her, you know what, I've seen a few psychiatrists already, and they pretty much give up on me because nothing seems to work. No medication seems to work. So if you are going to just give up on me too, then please tell me right away so that I don't waste my time with you. And I know that probably sounds really harsh, but guys, I've been through a lot already. Like this, with these other two psychiatrists, it had been a span of over a year and a half that all of this was taking place. It wasn't just a couple months, maybe even 2 years. So I was definitely very, very frustrated, and I just wanted relief for my symptoms because, again, they were getting worse. Even though I was taking certain medication, it wasn't helping. They were getting worse. So, she seemed very willing to help me as much as she could. And after that first appointment, she wanted to try some medication because I gave her the laundry list of medication that I had taken and that didn't work. So she wanted to try something else. So we did. And then I remember for my next appointment, she said that based off of a lot of the things that I was telling her, she believed that it was just more than depression and anxiety that I was dealing with, and she gave me a diagnosis. I'm not quite comfortable sharing my diagnosis yet because it's something that is very, very stigmatized. Like, people use this wording and kind of make it quirky, like OCD, like, oh, my OCD won't let me. You know, they use my diagnosis that way too, and it just annoys the hell out of me. Like, please don't do that. You have no idea. I do have OCD. I have magical thinking OCD, and I know that that sounds like it's not real, but it definitely is. So that's part of my diagnosis. The other part, I just don't think I'm comfortable sharing yet. Maybe at some point I will. But she at least gave me something to think about, an answer. So I was happy with that. I was confused about my diagnosis still because I just didn't know much about it. So it was a bit confusing. But I started to learn more about it and learn about myself, and I've started to understand it a bit more. I think I ended up bumping almost every nail on this hand. That's horrible. They look horrible, but oh well. Oh well. So even though I finally had a diagnosis, yeah, it helped a little bit to know, and it explained a lot of things. It explained why I was so resistant to medication. Um, but you kind of still end up feeling like this is just how it's gonna be forever, you know? Like, things are not gonna get better. You're not gonna be the person that you used to be. And that is probably one of the most difficult things that I have dealt with, is the realization that I'm not gonna be the person that I once was. The Janixa of the past was an extremely happy-go-lucky person, always happy, always smiling. Even though I had some, anxiety and stuff, it wasn't taking over my life. So I was still able to be a happy person. And this Janixa today is just not that same happy person. I am more bitter and angry and just not the same happy-go-lucky person that I used to be. Sometimes I am upset and I'll tell my husband I just feel like a completely different person in my heart. I feel like my heart has grown cold. And my husband tells me, no, it hasn't. The fact that you still care about your heart, proves that it hasn't. And I guess he's right, but I just still don't feel like the same Janixa that I was before. So it takes a lot of emotional, I don't know, a lot of working through a lot of emotions and thoughts to accept the reality that you will never be that old version of yourself again. That's extremely difficult, you guys. Extremely difficult. I just said a little bit ago that I wasn't going to share my diagnosis, but I think in order for people to understand me better, I kind of have to. I'm going to apply my top coat, and of course I am using my favorite top coat, Sech Vite. This is just my holy grail. I probably will never use anything else. So yeah, I keep like wrestling with the thoughts like, should I share? You know, should I not? And I'm gonna be completely honest with you guys, my family doesn't know this. The only people who know are my sister and my husband. And I tell my sister pretty much everything, and she tells me pretty much everything too. So we're close. So it makes sense that she knows. Alright, so I added the top coat to my nails, and now we just let it dry. I haven't taken a drink of my water yet. So yeah, my diagnosis has been like a blessing and a curse almost, because yeah, it's good to know what's going on, but at the same time, this is like having to learn who you are all over again. 2 years ago, I was diagnosed with bipolar disorder. Bipolar 2, to be exact. It's hard, guys. It's hard because bipolar disorder is technically considered a disability. I have not been able to work in 4 years. I have not been able to hold, an office job or anything in 4 years because I know that mentally I haven't been capable. I want to work though, you guys. I want to provide for my family. This is why I'm here on YouTube and on Instagram, because it's a way for me to make some money to provide for my family at least. But I still want to do more. My dream is for a brand, a nail polish brand, to hire me to be whatever I can be for them from home. I would absolutely love that because it would make me feel more useful to my family. It would give me more of a purpose every day. And it would hopefully help with my mental health a lot. So if you guys know of anybody hiring, let me know, because I feel like I could be great for something, within the nail polish world. But anyway, my diagnosis has been a difficult one to deal with. Like I said, I haven't even told my parents, so I don't know if they're gonna watch this video, but if they do, sorry that I didn't tell you guys sooner. It's just difficult to deal with. I've had to learn why I behave the way that I do at times, why anger comes very easily. Just a lot of things I've had to learn. I've learned that I am very resistant to a lot of medication, and that is an indicator of bipolar disorder. I actually don't really sleep very much if I don't have medication to help me sleep. I could go days without sleeping and still function, and that's another indicator of bipolar disorder. I actually, when I first started seeing this psychiatrist, she was trying to see what medication would work for me to, sleep. We tried a ton of them and none of them worked. And I remember being wide awake at 2 in the morning editing videos for YouTube because I was wide awake. I couldn't go to sleep. Thankfully, we found the medication that works, and it's been working for a few years, and I'm so grateful for it, because without that medication, I can't sleep and I wouldn't be able to function. And who knows, it would probably throw me into like manic episodes, and that would just be really, really bad for my mental health. I'm still learning every day how to deal with my mental health. I don't have it down pat or anything like that, and I don't think I ever will. I still have really bad anxiety, and a lot of times it's so bad that I feel like I can't breathe, you know? You almost want to claw at your own skin because you just feel like you can't breathe. And thankfully, I have a very supportive husband, and a husband who understands what I'm going through because he goes through his own mental health struggles. And that's huge, because when you have somebody who doesn't understand mental health at all, who thinks you're just down or something like that, or that you should be able to, you know, put on your big boy pants and keep going, it's way harder to deal with. So I'm really happy that I have my husband, that he understands what I'm going through, that he supports me as best he can, because a lot of times when I get in these certain roller coaster moods that I have, he ends up, you know, the target of a lot of my anger and irritation. And thankfully, he just tries to calm me down. He tries to be there for me and calm me down and bring me back, you know, bring Janixa back, instead of, you know, this person who's going through a lot of anxiety and depression at the time. So yeah, I've gone through a lot of things in life that have led me to this point where bipolar disorder did get the chance to develop, and it sucks because I often tell my husband, man, if I hadn't gone through this or I hadn't gone through that, maybe I wouldn't be struggling with bipolar disorder. Or if I had gotten help earlier after having the kids, maybe I wouldn't be going through this right now. But it's all a what if thing, and saying what if doesn't really help me at all. So right now, I just focus on trying to better understand my disorder, and to try and function as best I can in my life, you know, as a mom, as a wife, as hopefully a worker for someplace soon. And I'm doing the best that I can. And I think I'm doing a pretty damn good job, even though I'm extremely hard on myself sometimes. So yeah, every day is a struggle, but I'm still here. I'm still pushing. Some days I don't want to, but I'm still here. And I think my husband and I kind of push each other. Like, no, you can't give up. We got to keep going. And I think that's pretty great. And it's a big reason why we are as close as we are. So I've just shared a lot of information, and I was kind of all over the place because I didn't really have a script to follow. So I'm sorry if things are a little bit confusing. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. I don't mind answering them at all. Yeah, I do feel like being open about your mental health issues can definitely help other people, and that's the whole point of this for me. I want to help somebody. I want to help others and let them know that you're not alone, or, you know, it's not just in your head or whatever you may think. It's not true. Others are going through the same thing that you are, and we struggle too, even though it might seem like our lives are just fine. Alright guys, I think that's it for this video. I know I wasn't doing a lot of painting, but I can usually paint my nails pretty quickly, so it's not gonna last a whole, you know, 20 plus minutes. Painting my nails has been a big distraction for me when anxiety hits. It has really helped me. It's really given me an outlet, something to focus on when life just seems to be too much, when the mental health issues seem to be too much. I'm really grateful for it. I'm grateful that I have a whole room in my home dedicated to something that I love. I'm grateful that my husband is the one who encouraged me to, make this room my happy place. I'm so grateful for you guys also. You provide just a kind of, I don't know, like a little bit of a purpose, a little bit of a distraction, something for me to look forward to. Sometimes it's hard for me to find the right words, but you guys definitely help me a lot, and you make me enjoy polish even more. So I'm really happy that you're here. I'm really happy that I have this channel. I'm just happy that I've been able to create this little community here, even when I have been in some of the worst times of my life mentally. So yeah, everyone, I think that's it for this paint and sip video. Thank you so much for watching. Just know that I was very vulnerable here, and I hope that it helps somebody. And that's really all I can hope for, that it helps somebody. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and I will see you in my next video. Bye, guys.